I loved this. I'm having so much fun watching the show, and congratulations to you guys on the series already getting a season 2 pickup before it even debuts, because that's just really cool. How does the level of excitement around the series feel? Has it sunken in? Do you feel like you're still in your little bubble since it hasn't premiered yet? Is it wild to see people reacting to the trailer?
I think honestly, we were just saying that just doing this today has kind of made it, has ramped it up how real it feels. We've kind of been in our bubble in Prague for quite a long time. And, we started shooting in 2019. I think we flew out in August 2019. So, and we've stopped and started, and we've kind of been kind of hidden away in this little bubble, and we've not really known what to expect. And we've kind of had glimpses of the fan base and stuff like that. But just doing this today and talking to people we're like, oh, we made a TV show. We made a TV show.
And it's actually coming out.
People have seen it, which is lovely that people are finally getting a chance to see it.
And I guess especially because of COVID, we were supposed to shoot 9 months and it took us 2 years. So I guess we forgot a bit that there was an end result, an end product, the actual TV show. And it still feels like a little bit of a bubble because we do this press today, but it's still on Zoom. So I guess we are getting a lot of time to get used to this, and that this show is coming out very soon.
This whole thing is absolutely epic. When this project came your way, what most excited you about it? Was there an aspect of the genre? Was it something about the story? Was it your specific character that you were most interested in?
I guess what was unique about this project and how it came, at least my way, is that I did not know so much about it. When this came my way, I knew it was the Wheel of Time, but it was very secret, so I didn't know what character I was auditioning for. And then, I got the part, and then they told me who I was going to play, and it was Randall Thor. And then, of course, I immediately said, yes, I want to play this character. But I also realized, what a character it was. And I was aware of his arc and how, that he was one of the essential figures in this story. And then, from that day, just started working and still working and trying to find the essence of Rand today.
I think everything that we've seen, just like this, I think the scale of it has just been something that blew me away. I've done like a couple of very little things before, but I think just like the scale of like the size of the production, the size of the fan base that already exists, the sets that get built, like the magnitude of it is still, even now when we're filming season 2, it never ceases to amaze me just how big, they can take it with like the stunts or the sets that they build. So I think it's, you feel very lucky to work on something where, the size of it and scale of it and the level of production is so high.
When did you guys meet each other? I mean, you're sort of working with this smaller ensemble within the bigger ensemble of actors of this. Did you guys all meet each other at once? Did you sort of meet each other along the way through the process of it all?
Yeah, I think I'd auditioned a bit earlier in the UK, and I think I'd found out I'd got the part a bit earlier, and then I was called back to do chemistry tests in London, and I think you were there,
Maddie.
And Maddie was there as well, and I remember kind of thinking like I'm not just saying this now, but I remember thinking. I remember I was like, that guy, there's a guy in the corner who's being quite quiet, who's just got a particular energy. And it was just, they clicked, and I had because Perrin and Egwene have a few scenes together. So we had a few audition scenes, and Maddie absolutely smashed it. That was the first time we met, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, especially, your characters all are supposed to have this history together. It seems like that can be challenging when you don't necessarily get to know each other or have time to figure all that out right away.
I feel really fortunate that that the chemistry is that good, and it was just, I guess it had to do with the casting as well. It was organic, and although we had one month of prepping, and I think they deliberately made us do all the stunts together and the horse riding together. We spent a lot of time that first month. It was like a big summer camp, and oh, sorry, there's someone coming into the room. I don't know who that is, but and then yeah,
they're just checking on spoilers to make sure you don't reveal anything.
They're like, shut up.
Well, it's easy to see from, as a viewer watching it, why you would want to play these characters, and you know, who doesn't want to play in a world like this. But how deep did you dive into this world prior to shooting? Did you read the books? Did you do some other type of research? Was there something that really sort of helped you in keying into your character and how they fit into the world?
Yeah, I think I instantly kind of just started looking at like the whole world in itself, and Robert Jordan's work. I think knowing that kind of the structure, that kind of season one was going to take elements from, you know, not only the Eye of the World, but some of like the Great Hunt as well. I read like the first two books just to kind of get an idea of everything. But yeah, I think it was so helpful to have that kind of source material there. I mean, the scripts were incredible, and I'd already seen that a few things, you know, had changed in a few little ways, but I think having the script and the books to kind of bounce between as an actor is super helpful. And even though it was quite a daunting prospect, you had so much there to kind of sink your teeth into, which is quite helpful.
Was it the same for you, Josha? Yeah, it was the same for me. When I got the part, I just, you know, I went as deep as I possibly could. You know, we only had 1 month, and it felt quite a lot for such a huge amount of material. But the only thing you can do is take it step by step. And the script was definitely the main source. And beside of all the rational stuff and all the research of the book that I tried to read, all of them actually. I always felt at home with the script. That's where I felt, that's where I find my intuition, and all the research, all the material, the books that was available, and everything online as well. I just used it for my performance, you know, to try to get to understand the character better and to understand the world of the Wheel of Time.
How much were you told about ahead of time? I mean, did you know what the full season arc was going to be for the first season, or did you get some of those details as the season went along? I mean, obviously, you know the bigger story points because you have.
I think as we went along, we got more bits and pieces. They were also still writing and rewriting a lot of scripts that were ahead of us. So it was at some points it was exciting for us to see what scripts were coming in and where it was going as well. But we obviously had conversations about it with Rand, not with Rand, sorry, with Brave. Yeah, always conversations with Rand in my head.
In the mirror, just talking to each other. But yeah, I think we kind of knew that they would tend to take elements from not just the Eye of the World, but kind of the second book as well. So I think we kind of knew that it wasn't going to just follow, you know, one season, one book kind of structure. But you know, the characters might come in at different points kind of and things, but it kind of has to, I think when you're moving from books to TV, it's quite hard to throw in everything at once kind of thing. You know, it's kind of, you have to establish a lot of characters and they're all so beautifully written in the books. So I think allowing them to kind of develop at, you know, at slightly different stages, I think gives the audience a chance to really get to know them as best as possible.
This is a massive world building series. There's the locations, the sets, the costumes, the language, the mythology. There's all of these things the viewer has to take in. Is there anything that most helped you get into the world and the character when you got on set? Was there something about the wardrobe or the environment or a prop that you always had that helped you? What helped you when you got on set?
The sets, man. And, for me personally, the sets themselves have been sort of a bit mind-blowing. The two rivers at the start, I think one of my first scenes, I was just kind of sat in a bench before random Matt come, and I just did a 360, and I just saw, this village with children playing and chickens and sheep and smoke coming out the chimneys and people doing their washing, and you're kind of like, this is a bit ridiculous that they've just built a village for you to kind of facilitate you to do this scene. So that's something that I know it's quite hard not to feel like you're there when all of that's been kind of created around you. The costumes are really, really helpful as well, but I think the sets have been, quite mind-blowing.
Yeah, definitely encourages you, but I guess at times it, especially when we first started, it if you arrive in the Two Rivers for the first time, it's you realize what kind of production you're on and what the scale of it is, and not only the sets, but also all the extras, all the costumes, all the people that work on set, and the cranes and the drones. But I guess then you just go back to the essence, and I guess it doesn't matter if there are 5 or 6 cameras, or maybe one, because in the end it's about what you do with the performance, and you just respond in the way, in the dialogue that you think is the essence of the character, And I guess that's where, at least me as an actor, where I feel at home in when I hear action and when I hear cut.
Nice.
So what do you most enjoy about exploring the dynamic between Rand and Egwene? I mean, there's such a interesting dynamic to them. How important is that relationship? What can you say about what we'll see from them this season?
I think it's a really important relationship, because for me it symbolizes the culture of the Two Rivers. It's so lovingly and it's so mature. They figure out from a very young age that love is not dependency, it's not jealousy, it's not insecurity, and that's really special. And I think it's not only the relationship between Rand and Egwene, but also between Perrin and all the other characters there in the Two Rivers, and it feels like a strength and something they will have to use on their dangerous journey.
Pretty early on, we see some horrific creatures show up and slaughter a whole bunch of people. And I mean, that's such an interesting scene or sequence to watch, because it starts from a point of celebration and dance, and then all of a sudden there's all of this horrific stuff going on. And it feels like that really sets a mood and tone for what the series will be. What was all of that like to shoot? How long did all of that take to shoot? What was the most challenging part of that whole sequence?
It was big. I think Uta, the director, was sort of so well equipped for something as sort of demanding as that. I think she knew that she had to kind of establish all these characters, but at the same time, had a huge epic sort of battle sequence at the start as well. I think we all had our separate kind of sequences. I think Rosman and Daniel did a lot of night shoots, bless them, to get that bit finely tuned. I had quite a lot of stuff in the forge, and you with Michael
up mountain.
Up mountain. But when it's all pieced together, it really just feel sort of quite relentless when you watch it, that everything is sort of happening at the same time. But it was good. It was quite good to have a first episode like that kind of sets the tone, really. I think for the audiences to have that, like you said, it's quite idyllic at the start. It's this sort of like beautiful sort of village that's quite innocent and naive, and then all of a sudden this sort of darkness comes in, and I think that you get a sense of what the Wheel of Time is from those two aspects.
Yeah, I went from going like, I would love to join this party, to, okay, no, I wouldn't really want to be there.
It's so fun. It looks so fun up until that point, and then
Yeah. I mean, Marcus, for you, in that fight, something happens with your character that clearly he feels guilt for. How much will that weigh on him during his journey? Is that something that he's going to continue to think about? Will it shape who he is?
Yeah, I think, for those who do know the books, but I think Perrin has a particular relationship with violence, and I think he's a big kind of gentle giant, but I think violence is something that he's always kind of struggles with, and I think having something that he experiences quite early on, I think shapes his behavior going through season 1. And as he kind of enters the world outside Two Rivers, he realizes that there's a lot of dangerous people, and war and battles and violence is something that he keeps on coming across. And he has to kind of realize, does he kind of let into a innate animal side that we all have, or is there a way to be civilized and navigate through this world without being violent? And I think it's quite refreshing to have someone to constantly think, should we be violent, or should we be doing this? Because I think in fantasy it's always someone picks up a weapon quite quickly and it's always quite cool, but I think there's something quite modern about someone who thinks, should we be embracing a warfare, and actually is there a point to this, and is that the only resolution? So it's definitely something that Perrin will kind of definitely be embracing as the seasons go on.
Nice.
Josha, what do you think would most surprise viewers about what it takes to make this show? What can't we see just from watching it?
What surprised me about the show?
Well, what would surprise viewers from, about what it takes to make the show? Because, we're just getting to watch the finished version of it, but what would surprise people about what goes into it, what it takes to make it, what we can't see just from watching it?
There's so much you can't see, We've been doing this for 2 years. I guess that's the first thing. We've been through a pandemic. We've been shut down twice. We had so many. And it was a great experience, and it brought us closer together as a group, and it made the urgency to tell this story only bigger. But those are all that's a lot of stuff that you don't see. I actually recently, my first day of season 2, I got a food poisoning. That's probably, people never will figure that out until now, maybe. But, there's a lot of stuff going on set that you will, as an audience, will never find out, and that's good, because you have to see the story and not the person behind that character.
Until we get the behind the scenes look at it all. Well,
that's when you get bits and pieces, but
yeah.